Hi everyone, just a quick tutorial on Reaper. This is going to be just broad brushstrokes overview. There's a lot of functionality here. I just made a tutorial on Audacity, which is pretty simple, pretty intuitive, and Reaper is probably pretty intuitive if you've used a digital audio workstation, but there's a lot more functionality than something like Audacity, so there's a steeper learning curve. So we're not going to get into everything, just a brief overview. First of all, notice the menu up here. One of the first things you'll want to note is what your sample rate and bit depth are, and they're listed up here, and you'll want to make sure that your audio tracks and your project sample rate match. That's the only thing that's really important, and I've been working on a project with a high sample rate, 96 kilohertz, but you can typically, you'll be fine with 44.1 kilohertz. So this is the menu bar, and here's where you're going to see your tracks when you add them, and here's where you're going to see your track control. So let's just insert, or actually we'll just add, go to track, insert new track. You can also hit Command T, and you'll see two things happen. You had a window pop up here, or you had a little interface pop up here and down here as well. So this is your track control, and this is essentially your mixing window down at the bottom, and this is your master. So this track, or this master gain, controls all of the levels, so you can make everything louder or everything softer all at once. To record sound, you would need to record, enable your track, and then you would also need to hit record, and then you see I'm recording a mono track right there. To stop, you just hit record again, and if you want to stop having this track record enabled, you would just hit this little red button again. You can also import audio. Perhaps the easiest way to do that is to just drag and drop, right? Notice that I just put a stereo track on a mono track, and that's fine. Now, you notice you have the name of the track up here. Over here, you have a mute button, and you have a solo button, which would mute everything except for what is soloed. You have a gain control, and you have a trim control. And what's nice here is if you can choose what you want to trim, and if you hit Command, you'll get a little pencil editor, and then you can create an envelope for your track, and just hit Command undo to undo that. You can do that for the volume. You could also do that, and by the way, to do that for the volume, you can also just, if you have that track selected, you can also just hit V and V again, or you can do P and you'll get pan, and you can undo P. To split an audio file, you just hit S, and then you can move your audio file around. You'll note that it's snapping to these lines. It's called snap to grid. That's this little shoe horse magnet thing, which I tend not to normally like, so I turn that off, and now you can have a smooth control over that. You've got time represented up here, both in seconds and in beats. You have, if it's important to you, I tend not to really use these functions, but you have the time signature and beats per minute. Once you get going in Reaper a little bit more, one of the things that you'll probably try out quite a bit are some effects. And so just to show you where that is again, if you just hit this little on button, you enable the effects, and then you can search for different types of effects. And if you hit OK, this is a plugin. So you get a window, and then you can, this track, you can see it's enabled, it's green, it's on. So whatever you do here is going to affect the audio that is playing back here, right? So right now I'm cutting out some, or making some mid-range frequencies softer. So, so if you want to keep the effects on the track, but you just want to not have it enabled, you would hit the on-off button again. If it's red, it's not enabled. Or you can remove it if you want to get rid of it entirely. Oh, some really basic things. If you want to create a fade in, you just come up to the top corner of a track and you just drag, and same with the fade out. You'll find that if you, I think it's standard that the crossfade is enabled. So if you start dragging a track on top of another track, you will get a crossfade. There's lots of other things you can do. You can separate a stereo file, excuse me, into two separate tracks. So it's called Item Processing Explode Multi-Channel. And see, now you've got the main track, and then you've got the left and the right channels. You'll notice here you've got the main track and then two sort of, this is the parent track and the two child tracks there. And yeah, there's a ton of other things that you can do, but I just wanted to give a quick introduction, a quick overview, and I think the best way to learn is to just dive in and try stuff. Well, I was having an issue before. If you go to the user guide, I believe is the right one, you can download a free download of the user guide, which will give you lots more detail, lots more information about using Reaper. Some things are super intuitive, some things are a little bit more tricky. It's not always, there's no real rhyme or reason, but that's Reaper in a nutshell. It's a very useful tool. That's it for now.